Welcome everyone. This is the fourth interview podcast for Head in the Game, and we're delighted to be joined today by Darren Kelly. How's things, Darren?
Are you, Steph, all right?
Yeah, good stuff. We're gonna just talk through, like we've discussed earlier, like we sort of had a wee chat off air. We're gonna talk about just going from schoolboy, just from the start, how you got into football, sort of your early upbringing, and then just go through your whole career and your personal life. And I suppose let's see where it takes us. Like, so, like, just when you were a kid, like, what was your first memories of football? How did you first get into it?
My first kind of club was a club called Woods United in Clondalkin, in Neilstown. It was such a small club. There was about 5 or 6 teams in it. I was 7 years of age and playing under 10s outfield. And then I kicked into GAA then as well, playing with my school, which would have been Ballyfermot de la Salle. I loved my GAA, and I spent a couple of years there, and was a centre forward and moved back into midfield. And then we had trials now with Cherry Orchard. I was under 12s. I went to Cherry Orchard. So I think I was playing South Dublin Division 4 or something. It was a very low league.
Yeah.
To go on to playing Premier Football then with the DDSL, with obviously Cherry Orchards as a well-renowned club. And I went there and I done my trials, and I was actually playing central midfield at the time, but I was just because like Cherry Orchard back then was kind of the Man United of schoolboy football.
Yeah.
I'll never forget the manager putting his hand up, saying anyone play right full, and of course straight away the hand went up and played right full. And after that game, he signed me straight away. Asked me to sign, so it kind of left. With my stepfather was managing Woods United, so it was the time to move into kind of more serious football at the time, you know.
Yeah, when you're sort of younger, you're always looking to play at the highest level you can, and I suppose like with the youth, like you just go with it. Like you said, manager says, where do you want to play? Then right full straight away, wherever you can get playing.
Yeah, like I grew up in Ballyfermot anyway. My family are originally from Ballyfermot, and my nanny was down there. So and most lads, you kind of live out your nanny's house. I went to school in Ballyfermot. My friends were from Ballyfermot, and kind of playing street football in a place called the Lair. Ballyfermot playground it was, top of my nanny road. I was just street football constantly from 9 o'clock in the morning to 10 at night. Like you were just on the ball constantly, and I was trying to go and play with my friends then as well, you know.
Yeah, that was brilliant that you knew most of the lads you were going in with. Like I suppose that helped you settle in, and it was an easy sort of transition, even if the footballing level was a wee bit higher than you were used to.
The football level was frightening. Like with a couple of then became schoolboy internationals. One became a senior international as well at the same time. So it was a fairly decent squad. Like to be fair, like you know. And then I kind of played all over the place for Cherry Orchard. It was right full, centre half, centre midfield, played up front.
Yeah.
And then I was getting kind of serious with the GAA as well at the same time. I was progressing on. I was part of the South Dublin County panel. And I was approached then to go to Ballybowden St. Enda's from De La Salle and Ballyfermot. And at that time, I got the knee disease, Osgood slats, kind of grown. So that kind of put me off the pitch for about six months to a year. I was kind of managing how it was going.
Yeah.
But it was coming to the crunch time then to that was under 13s. We had done the treble with Cherry Orchard. We'd gone to Celtic and battered Celtic, who were the top club in Scotland at the time, because Celtic and Cherry Orchard had a link. And we had absolutely annihilated Celtic in 2 games over there. And then it was decision time whether I was going to go back to Cherry Orchard or just concentrate on the GAA, because I transferred over again, as I said, to Ballybowden. And Osgood's kicked in, but I'd made the decision then at the end of under 13s to step away from kind of football. And then the manager rang and asked would I play and go, because obviously I was playing GAA, and kind of always kicked the ball around and played in goal. Even with the layer, I was kind of, I wanted to be a goalkeeper. I didn't mind jumping around on the tarmac or whatever. I was kind of brave at that point. But yeah, I ended up playing one game. Wayne Henderson, ex-Irish international, who had to retire there, 10 years ago now, I think it was. He went on trial to Arsenal, and I was due to play in goal in a DSL game. I think it was against Home Farm, so it would have been a big enough game. And the game was actually called off. So the next game was, I got called into the DDSL. I'd never played in goal, proper game in goal. I got called into the DDSL team to play against Maryland boys. And Glenn Whelan would have been playing for Maryland boys at the time. And played in that game, done all right. Got called back into the DDSL then to play another game. It was against the Man United Academy. So I played on. That was, I kicked on from there then. Played a couple of games with Cherry Orchard. And then there was a change in age groups where you play certain times a month you could drop down. So I was fortunate enough to drop down. And that's when I started playing in goal fully. But I was still keeping with my GAA as well because it was quite serious. At 14s, we were kind of going for the Fela. Kind of a big tournament for underage at that stage. So I was literally getting in the car. I was going to my soccer games in the morning, getting in the car, driving to my GAA games. And then Dublin was kicking off then. So I was either with the DDSL the next day, or I was with the Dublin GAA the next day. So my weekends were just rammed with football. And then during the week, I ended up starting training with a Cherry Orchard senior team, and the manager John Wilkes, which was probably the Alex Ferguson of amateur football. I was up training with him constantly with the senior goalkeepers, and then the Henderson brothers then as well had a big impact then when I was younger then as well. Stephen and Dave, getting coached by them then as well, So it was action packed.
Yeah, you're playing at the top level on both sides, like on the GA and the football, like, so you know the talent was obviously there from a young age, and you had the interest in it. Like, it takes big commitment. I know from my own personal experience, like even traveling up to Dublin and stuff, you need the commitment and you want to do it, like, or there's no point. But like, to be playing at that sort of level on both codes, like, there's probably a bit unheard of. Like, you usually have to choose one or the other, like, to make the commitment. Like,
that was there was an awful lot of sacrifice to say, like, small things as underage discos. I went to very few of them. Missing going out with my friends because, like, if I did an important game, every game was starting to be important then. And what I had to do, because trials started coming in then as well. UK clubs started taking interest then, and it kind of got a bit serious. And then plus the GAA, so I kind of gave a lot of childhood up as well at the same time with not going to underage discos, going with my friends, going into town. I was kind of, the bubble wrap was kind of put around me, like, and I was missing out on an awful lot of stuff, like. And it was hard, like, but look, there was a goal to get to where I got to, but it was at the expense of being a child, like, that kind of way. Stuff like that,
And do you think that affected you then later on? Do you think you missed out on anything, or were you just that focused at the time that you had the vision, you knew what you wanted to do, and you didn't mind just making the sacrifices, I suppose?
I knew I was making kind of the wrong sacrifices. I was sacrificing skill. Which now, going back, I'll never forget my woodwork teacher and me tutor pulling me. But no interest in skill. Because I'd obviously kind of got the trials, and I'll be honest with you, I came a bit of a Billy Big Bollocks, like, I don't know if I can use that word, but
we let it slide.
But like, you're looking at it that, look, you're around international teams now, and you're knocking on the door, and you've no interest. Like, it wasn't in a bad way, but my mind was more focused on my football. I started kind of getting myself into trouble with school and stuff like that, which now I fully regret. and made decisions on it. And look, I'm going back to doing my education. It's never too late to go back now either. Like, but I'm
Yeah.
37. It was 20 years ago now, like, so.
Yeah. No,
Still
like
have
that.
great memories, like, what I mean, in school,
Yeah.
but they started taking over certain things. I remember um, I was on detention, and I was Packy Bonner's testimonial, and it was Friday afternoon. I had to get to Whitehall by 1:30. I was on by 2 o'clock, I think it was. I was on detention till 1:30, and I was literally, my auntie was waiting in the car to bail me across. I was nearly didn't go to it. And then I had a great session. Then got tickets to go to. I got goalkeeper at the camp or the trainers, about 20 keepers there. And we all got tickets to go to Packy's testimonial then the next day. And Packy would have been probably the hero at the time. Schmeichel and Packy would have been the two.
Yeah.
The two
Idols. Yeah.
Yeah, 100%.
Yeah, good experience then. So just moving on then, you were saying you had trials in the UK. Did many of them show big interest? I wanted to sign you. What sort of clubs was looking at you at the time?
Yeah, my first trial would have been to Celtic. They came in with Wolves. So I travelled back and forth a couple of times to both clubs. Celtic showed an interest, but kind of had a bit of we had a bit of a blip. I was over there, and I was travelling home. We went up and trained where the Scottish national team trained, and I was left in the airport. I was only 14. I was left in the airport for about 6 or 7 hours. Now, was decked out in Celtic gear, left, right, and centre, looked the business. But getting a bit of abuse from the other side of Glasgow, calling all sorts of names. And I had to go to the girl on the Aer Lingus desk and say, look, explain what was going on. I had to be brought through then separately and stuff like that. And they came in then and asked, could I go to, I think it was the Kiel tournament or something like that. And basically, my mother said, no, I can't get back from Glasgow. How are you expected to get back from anywhere else? And that was the end of that. My mother basically told me, I'm a Celtic fan, but
that must have been tough for you.
Yeah, Willie McStay wrote a letter, and I think Joe Venglos was the manager at the time, I think Joe Venglos or Wim Janssen, one of them. But the manager, and I actually got a letter of apology direct from the manager, and he actually came over the situation literally. Then my mother just said no. We had West Ham came in. West Ham was kind of one that I really wanted to go to, because Les Sidney, Lord rest him, took a serious interest in me. And Les obviously being a Man United goalkeeper then as well, and won the FA Cup, the famous Jim Leighton. In the FA Cup, Ferguson played him instead of Jim. Yeah. I spent time in Les's house. I lived with him for 2 weeks. And I remember him picking me. I remember playing for the DDSL. This is how it came about. We went on and played for the DDSL because we played against Glenn Johnson played, Billy Mehmet played. There's a couple of young lads that had gone through the system, had played against us, and we beat West Ham then as well. And we had quite a good DDSL team at the time. Stephen Elliott, Glenn Whelan, all played. And we went, and after the second game, I was brought into the dressing room, and Les Seeley was in there, and he asked me would I go back and play against the Arsenal the following week. So I said, yeah, no problem. So literally flew home the following week. I played against I think it was Stella Maris, and I was literally on the plane then to fly to West Ham, and Les picked me up from the airport, brought me to the hotel, put me in the hotel, played the game against Arsenal, flew home with me, met my parents, basically wanted to sign me there and then after the game, and invited over to train then for 2 weeks over the Easter period. And there was Wolves were involved as well. Ipswich started coming in as well, and Man United started coming in. A good few clubs started coming in and showing an interest. Southampton, and I went into Les's house and met his wife Elaine and George and Joe. I was put in. I think one of the kids got thrown out of rooms. In the room I went into, he had his the FA Cup medal, his Premier League trophy. They used to get a little miniature Premier League trophy when they won it, so he obviously won it the first year. And then there was this big glove there, and a big white glove, and I was so mesmerised by this glove, and it was Schmeichel's, and I put it on my hand, and basically it was going on my finger, and Les walks in and goes, real cockney, get that off your fucking hand, mate, you're not good enough to wear that glove. And I was like, shit, like, and it was brilliant. But
you thought you were going to be packing your bags and going home at that stage.
It wasn't even funny. So I went into the training ground the next day. Hardy Redknapp would have been manager, Frank Lampard Senior, all Frank Lampard Junior, Rio Ferdinand, Joe Cole. These were all here. The Canio, and it was a superstar team at the time. And Shaka Hislop and Craig Forrest were the two goalkeepers, and went out to train and literally had to sing a song in front of everyone. Les told everyone about it. I had to sing a song, man. I was never so embarrassed in all my life. It was brilliant. But looking back, it was absolutely brilliant.
Yeah, some experience.
Yeah, it was absolutely top drawer, to be fair. Like, and Les and the family really put it out. And then we came to contract negotiations. Then I went to Milk Cup, and a couple more teams came in the summer from me. I was meant to go with West Ham, but I went with Cherry Orchard, then my club. And a couple of more teams came in, and went to Southampton and played against West Ham the week beforehand. And I was going to West Ham then the following week, and I had a fairly decent game. And that probably brought up the level of interest a bit more, and we went and had negotiations, and they were going ahead, and you kind of wanted one more year out of the deal, rather than didn't want to fix myself to a short term deal. I wanted kind of an extra year, give myself a better chance. They kind of weren't budging, and then Ipswich came in, flew to Ipswich then a couple of days later when I returned, and Les was still on the phone trying to get the deal done. And then we played an international game against Germany in Tolka Rovers ground, and you had Robert Hood playing, David O'Donker. He was at Borussia Dortmund. I think he broke his neck and ended his career. But basically after that game, actually my grandfather died on the Friday, and I was due to fly out to Ipswich Saturday after the game. And she died the Thursday. I was on the international play. When I played Germany, I had one of them games. It was one of my best games I've ever played, and flew to Ipswich then on a Friday. Grandfather had died and was brought onto the pitch for warming up Richard Wright and Mike Salmon, and basically done a deal there and then. And then I received a phone call off Man United then wanting to do a deal then as well. So obviously I've done well enough to some big contracts on the table, like, I decided to go to Ipswich and commit to Ipswich at the time because I thought it was a great club, to be fair.
Yeah, they would have been Premier League at the time, would they have?
We were Championship at the time, and got promoted that year then as well. So we went into the Premier League when I went over full time.
Yeah, I suppose you just have to try, and I know it's probably a guessing game when you have that many clubs. You're just trying to find the right fit for yourself, see where you probably have the most chance of progressing and getting into the first team. But obviously, like the games you were playing in, some of the players you were playing against, like, all went on to have serious careers, and I suppose word of mouth probably got on, and everyone was all eyes were sort of on you at the time. And did you find that like as a pressure, or did you find like you were just looking? Did you know everyone was looking at you at the time, or was it more like you were just playing the games and you were nearly like the form you were in, looking forward to every game?
Like for me, when I'm playing my best, I'm enjoying myself and I'm messing. Like I'd be full of beans, I'd be a messer. Like, I'm not afraid to say that. Like, I'm always up to something. And that's when I'm messing and I'm on top form, that's when I'm really enjoying myself and I know I'm going to get the best out of myself. And people kind of saw that as a negative, saying I was full of beans or you calm down or whatever. Like, but there is a time when, like, you hear the talk, this club is coming in for you, that club is coming in. So there's a letter after arriving in for Darren and that, like, no problem. Like, But it was just game after game, training session after training session. Like I was even like played for Dublin in a Leinster tournament, and we ended up going and winning it. And then kind of the soccer started taking more serious to the GAA, and I was literally like sneaking out. I was asking my mum for taxi money so my stepfather wouldn't find me going out to play gar or anything like that. And my manager in the GAA was paying for taxis to get me to games. Like I was crossing the M50 like at that stage, like, and I was hiding going into the games, and so no one would fucking really see me, like, you know what I mean? And
Yeah, yeah.
so where were you? I was been playing football in the school. It was kind of, you're not playing football, but still going to play football, like, you know. So
Yeah, you just had the love of it at that time, and there was nothing going to stop you, really.
there was nothing, but like I'd enjoy playing with my mates and school mates, and I just love football, you know. Like my primary school principal, like, I remember I wasn't doing homework. My mother went down. He says, "Look, he's not playing GAA anymore. You can't do that. Like, we'll sort the homework out. Like, we don't need." And he's the principal, the Christian brother of the school. Like, do you know what I mean?
Yeah.
And he was like a father figure in school for me. Like, he was unbelievable for me. Like, you know.
Yeah.
But that's that's where we were at. Like, it was just full on. Like, you know.
Yeah. And then so you got over the Ipswich and you signed your deal. How did you think that went for you? Like, did you settle in straight away, or did you find missing home or any homesickness like you hear previous players coming
Yeah,
up?
like before I kind of went, I was in fifth year in school, and I didn't give a shit. Basically, I knew what I was going to do. I was done since Christmas, and basically the vice principal came to my mother and said, "Look, there's no point in Darren coming to school because he's wasting their time," which is fair enough. Like, yeah, from that, look, I made my mistakes on it, and I hold my hands up, and we ended up getting my first job. Then I ended up working Gill's Bakery. So I was up at 6 every morning, cycling 2 mile, 3 mile to work, working there till 2, doing bakery and making cakes and everything, like, you know.
Yeah.
Then I went to that moved, and I went to work in Tesco then as well for a while. So I was Tesco training. I was only 15 when I was working in Tesco, but they made an allowance for me. So we got in there for a while. But yeah, I made the change, and I signed. I was trying to go over in the July, and when I arrived there, I was literally going on a week's training camp with the goalkeepers. So it was basically, I say 90% of the Premier League goalkeepers used to go to Staffordshire University, and
Okay.
basically for a week. So that's where I'd kind of gone. And the head goalkeeping coach at Ipswich, Malcolm Webster, he was one of the main trainers with Fred Barber, who was at Bolton Wanderers. So the kind of Roy was missing. He was away with England at Euro 2000, and then you, like I said, Paddy Kenny, Jaskalainen, and like, you're training beside these lads, and you've seen them on the telly 6 months
Yeah.
before Premier League, and now you're in a training session with them, like, you know. And it was quality, to be fair. Like, I made a week solid training there, and I was back then in with the youth squad then as well. So players in my youth team would have been Darren Benton, Darren Ambrose, Matt Bloomfield, Ian Westlake. He'd gone to Leeds, I think, for 2 mil or something like that. So you had a fairly decent squad, and it was one of the most, probably one of the most successful Ipswich youth teams that he had. Like, you know, it was excellent. Like, to be fair, the caliber was top draw.
Yeah, it's good. Like some of the players you mentioned there, like Premier League standard players, and like Darren Bent, the goals he scored in Premier League, like, has spoke for itself. Like, but did you find, like, with the teammates and stuff coming over from Ireland, did you find any difficulty settling in with them, or like outside of football, did you integrate well with the team, I suppose?
Yeah, I did, to be fair. They were a great bunch of lads, but I was kind of back and forth on international duty. I was back for the Milk Cup 3 weeks after I had arrived. I was there for 10 days with Ireland. Brian Kerr brought a team up, and we played in the Milk Cup 2 years out of our age group. And then we travelled to Austria then about 3 weeks after we had come back. So was a bit of to and fro back and forth to Ireland. And then by the time that happened, the league was kicking off, so we were straight into league action then as well. With the club, like it was getting to know the boys fairly quick. Like
Yeah.
I kind of bounced back and forth from the Christmas time. I was over probably every 4 or 5 weeks for a week or so, just integrating with the staff and the players that were going to come in. Like,
Yeah, no, it seemed to go well, and yeah. So you were over there for how many years? Were you over in Ipswich? Was it 3?
I signed a 4-year deal and I stayed for 3.
Stayed for 3.
Yeah,
And did you
yeah.
did you progress on to the first team, or were you on the bench or at any stage? Or
What had happened was I played a couple of um charity kind of games around with the first team and stuff like that. You'd go out and end up playing outfield in one of the games, I think it was, but it was more to get me out of the house because the homesickness was kicking in.
okay,
And in fairness to the coach, he kind of knew. And there's problems at home. My parents had kind of split up and stuff like that, so that was affecting me then massively as well. And I wanted it at home.
yeah,
And in fairness, he spotted it fairly quickly. And was getting me out to these charity games, keep me occupied, because from 2 o'clock to 9 o'clock the next day, you're kind of on your own, like,
yeah,
and it gets lonely. And for 6 months, it was myself and Collie daily, and Collie was fantastic for me, like, and he was released at Christmas time. Then he had an ankle injury, but it was only basically me and him there, the 2 worst lads, and then Sean Fryers was there as well. He was more in around the Resis, and Jim Magilton was there, and Matty Holland was there. But we'd integrated well, like, but
yeah,
in the evening time, I was kind of like, there's 2 or 3 other lads around the place, but they were different parts of Ipswich then as well, like, and it
yeah,
was hard enough. And then progressed really well. We'd end up getting a great run in the FAU Cup and got to the semi-final, being by Arsenal, and kind of probably my best game I've ever played. I was actually talking to the Ipswich academy staff last week about, and with 15,000 people at the game, I think it was 5,000 in Highbury. We beat them in Highbury 4-3, and like, they had Jermaine Pennant playing, Ali Aladir, Stephen Sidwell, Morris Bolts. Like,
yeah.
I think
Top
their
level.
team, yeah, their team alone had cost 10 million. So back in 2000, 2001, like, they were, I think they were the Invincibles around at the time, like.
Yeah,
And then we had a fairly decent team as well, and we got to the semi final, and it was. I still remember this game to this day, like, and doing interviews after the game was probably game of life, and just they were singing England's number one, and we had to go on to. It was in the paper, and of all the newspapers, only showing the kids a couple of weeks ago, and he had to come out and say, "What do you think them calling England's England's?" I'm Irish, and that's it. Like, and I'm on BBC Suffolk, Look, thanks to me, I'll take it as a compliment, but
yeah,
I'm
no,
Irish.
yeah,
Irish. Yeah, we went on and won the FA Premier League on the 17s as well. That was 2 weeks after, so I was flying. I was absolutely flying at this stage. Kind of unofficial phone calls from Arsenal then as well after the game, asking what my situation was. I think an official call could have been made, because possibly Wrighty had gone to Arsenal as well at the time. He had
yeah,
gone to replace David Seaman, and there was talk then of a new contract then being called in by the gaffer and George Bowley, and said, look, I want you to come back 2 weeks early off your break and discuss a new contract. And I says, yeah, perfect, no problem. We went on and won the FA Premier League under 17s, and we played in St James's Park, and there was 15,000 Geordies at the game, and they were 5-1 down. We're 5-1, 5-0 down, and there's 15,000 Geordies at the game, like,
yeah,
and it was rocking. I'll never forget it. It was absolutely top draw, like, and yeah, it was brilliant. And it's actually Premier League trophy is the exact same, but it's only smaller down, proper Premier League medal and everything. Like, it was top draw, and returned home and getting myself focused. Right, I'm on the brink here of
yeah,
breaking through, like, kept myself in decent shape then, and came back 2 weeks early, got in the gym, went on that pro week then as well with the goalkeepers, and they brought in Roy had obviously gone, so I was there thinking to myself, right, you'll have a really good pre-season. So some of the very good goalkeepers as well at the club. James Cullen was decent as well. He was coming through at the same time. He was a couple of years older than me. And the gaffer had said, look, you're going to travel with the first team to Dublin. We were playing Dublin County at the time. Dublin City, was it?
Yeah.
Dublin City. And 2 or 3 friendlies, and we'll discuss a contract with your mum and dad. And we get across the line, and I think I was buzzing. I was in Shoot magazine at the time. I was in Front magazine. My profile was starting to raise.
Yeah.
And then the Wednesday, my knee was swelled out like a balloon. I was literally, I'm going nowhere. Like, you know, I went to Malcolm and said, look, my knee's not looking good. Like, so I literally gone back to physio, looked at it, straight away in for a scan the next day. Scanned on the Thursday. The gaffer said, we'll discuss, we see how the scans go. Didn't travel to Dublin, obviously, because I probably would have been kind of my first team debut, there or thereabouts. So done the knee, and things, he came back and said, there's no blood flowing through your knee, so we'll have to operate. So I was on the knife on the Friday morning, got the knife done. He said, come back in 4 weeks. So I had 4 weeks recovery to go again.
Yeah.
So I went back, and there was the smallest little spots on my leg, on my knee, where he had gone in, and it just, whatever had happened, there was a little spot, and the doctor says, I'm not going to operate in case this spot bursts, gets infected, and you lose your leg basically down from your knee down. So I was like, okay, no problem. So I got the operation then done the following week, keyhole again. 2 weeks later, I got that. So that brought me into August, the end of August, into September. Got home then for a week to me Debs. I went to me Debs. I was invited back to the school for me Debs. And then I came back. I just started picking up niggly injuries. My back started spasming all the time. I really hit rock bottom then. From going from basically breaking through to boom, your whole world comes crashing down. Just couldn't recover. Head was gone. Tried to get back too quickly. They brought other goalkeepers in. Lewis Price came in then, who ended up being a Welsh international. He came in, done really well. Can't blame the club for bringing in our goalkeeper in. I thought it was personal. I thought I wanted to fight the world, basically. Like, do you know what I mean? Like, started going out partying a bit more when I shouldn't have been. I was 17 at the time, like, and I was on fairly decent money at that stage, like, you know. And then a few things happened in the club. We got suspended for a week from training. Other things had happened. There was kind of accused of things, and nothing of the sort had kind of happened. And I just wanted to go home. So yeah, I was kind of on my own, kind of being phased out a small bit as well because I didn't recover. I wasn't going on the road I probably should have been going on. And I basically went in and I called in. It was Christmas time and said, look, you can go if you want to go. And I said, right, perfect, I'm going to go. So I'd gone up to Wigan. Sorry, in the summer before that, I'd gone up to Wigan to try to get games. Against Celtic and Rangers, done really well. Called back, asked would I go back, got injured. So Wigan were kind of in for me at the time and just couldn't recover. Kept picking up niggles. Back was at me, groins were at me. I just didn't know what was wrong with me. And I got offered the payout then to leave. So with 18 months left and the club kind of hit a financial spot. So I decided to take the payout. That's probably the worst thing that ever happened to me, to be honest with you.
Yeah.
Worse than that, because I started gambling.
Okay.
So I went probably about 12 grand in 2 weeks. So I basically gambled away 12 grand in 2 weeks. Nothing stupid. Was buying stupid clothes, watches, and I had nowhere to go.
Yes.
So yeah, I got the. I was on a spiral, downhill spiral
Yeah.
from that point.
And did you feel like you had guidance there, or were you just not listening to anybody, or did you just feel alone at the time?
Yeah, yeah, it was you against the world. Like,
Yeah,
there was no guidance. Once you go across that water, like, there's nothing. Like,
yeah,
clubs try to do things for you, but look, there's other people that you need around you, like,
yeah,
um, friends, family. Like, a lot of my friends that I probably hung around with now are probably dead or in prison or strung out. Like, John, that's
yeah,
very few of them gone on and done really well. So that, like, my mother had moved to Wexford. I kind of hadn't got a base anymore and Ballyfermot and stuff like that. And then, yeah, there was no guidance there. Like, yeah,
yeah. You were
the sort of
left.
club. Yeah, I
Yeah,
was left. I had an apartment. I was living in an apartment at the time, and I hit the downward spiral. And then I got a phone call. Then asked me to go to Real Mallorca on trial. So I'd gone to. I was preparing to go to Real Mallorca, and I got a phone call to come back to a Premier Division club back home. And I just said to myself, I need to go home and get
yeah,
my head together um, and see what happens. So I agreed to come home. I agreed to meet the manager and basically sign for the club. So he said, how quickly can you get back? And I was back within 48 hours, moved from basically Ipswich to Dublin in 48 hours. Like, and my dad had come over and collected me and brought me home. And went out to meet the manager at the time in the club, and basically had promised me, look, you're going in as number two. I was 18 at the time. 18, yeah, I think it was 18, 19, 18 or 19. No, it was 18, sorry, going on 19. And basically signed another goalkeeper the night beforehand. And basically all he could offer me was a fast course. So I
yeah,
just said, look, I've given up Real Mallorca to come here. Like, do you know
yeah.
what I mean? I was thinking, so I could be in fucking Spain here, living the dream. Like, but
Yeah.
I'm back
Pull the
home
rug
now.
from under you, really. Like,
Yeah, he basically pulled the rug from underneath me. And then I had a couple of calls. I went to Dublin County, Kildare County, played a game against Rovers, and I was absolutely shocking in the game. But there was three goalkeepers there at the time. Gareth Bourne, Ty Murphy was there, and I was there. So we all played a half hour each in the game, and I went in, and Mark Kenny, I think, done me from about 40 yards on a half volley. And the best goals I've ever conceded, to be fair to him. And he's done me from 40 yards. And I was just like, oh no, what's going on here?
yeah,
Got the wall for then in the meantime. And Darren had said, look, I want to bring you in. So I says, right, perfect. Went to sign the week before, play against Paston really well. Training with Cherry Archer senior teams as well at the same time, trying to keep myself fit. Keith
yeah,
Fatty was there training with the Orchard as well. He'd only come back, I think it was Aston Villa or Arsenal at the time. And after the Pats game, I was asked, would I be interested in going to Pats? Would have been a Pats fan.
yeah,
And I said, yeah. He said, so look, I'll be in contact with you. Spoken to a few people, told them I was going, and next of all, the deal was off. I wasn't going anywhere. So even the training was cancelled, and I kind of heard one or two things being said about me, but were totally untrue.
yeah,
And then what had happened then after that, went to start training actually with Barry Ryan up at Rovers. Then I was in training with Rovers. Tony O'Dowd would have been up there as well at the time, and trying to cross in King's Hospital only down the road from me. But Dermot came in and said to me, look, I want to sign you. I said, perfect. We had agreed a deal. And then he went and signed, it was Wayne Russell, I think, at the time, the night before the league had started. So he had three goalkeepers on the books. He wasn't bringing another one on because he said, I've used your money to sign Wayne. Look, Wayne had a fantastic career in the league, and you can't really knock that. Like, you're going to bring a 19-year-old in, and you're
yeah.
going to,
Take a
or you go
chance.
in and take a chance on him, or you're going to bring in someone more experienced. I think he got goalkeeper of the year at Waterford the year before or something. And he said, I want you to stick around until I get another goalkeeper off the books. Like, and I says, I can't wait around, like, So it's kind of getting thrown from Billy the Jack in terms of clubs. I went to Waterford then. I was played 1 or 2 games against for Rovers, and I just fell out of love then. I just hit the self-destruct button. Didn't want to play football. It's no one's fault. It was just, look, you were in the senior game now, and that's
Yeah, it was
the way it
just
was.
like a run of circumstances that just sort of went against you, and then
Yeah.
that all plays in your head like you're gonna struggle. You don't know where to turn to basically.
No, and it was hitting a downward spiral, and Sean Dillon came to me then. Sean put the olive branch out to me, in fairness to him. He was brilliant. Excuse me. And Sean was up speaking to me a fair bit, and you could see I was slowly slipping down the old food chain.
Yeah.
I moved to Wexford then, done a bit of toiling. Down there, my mother's husband, and I just wasn't for me. So I ended up moving back to Dublin. I rented out an apartment. And the people that were around me that I kind of trusted were starting to go.
Okay.
And I would have put a lot of faith in and a lot of guidance, and they were gone because obviously Darren, the footballer, was gone.
Yeah.
And that circle became smaller and smaller and smaller. And I was living in a house just not too far from where I am, renting accommodation on the social welfare. I had no money, I had nothing. So going from a club 6 months ago where I was earning fairly decent money,
Yeah,
to living in rented accommodation in Dublin on the social welfare, it was that bad. I remember selling newspapers on the N4 at Lucan. And the kind of the kick in the teeth and start to realise I was getting bad was I seen one of my old managers walking by with his young lad that I play with. I was just thinking to myself, I'm standing here selling the Evening Herald. What the fuck is going on? Like,
yeah,
where have I gone? In previous, I was meant to go into an international team with no club. And the manager had rang me. Brian had kind of stepped upstairs a bit, and the manager at the time had rang me, said, "Yeah, you're in the squad, no problem." I was playing senior football with Dublin Bus. Played one game, I think, and they got relegated off a protest because my international clearance hadn't come through. But I was on the slippery slope. I was offered an apartment, and I think it was £1,500 a week at the time. And what happened in the apartment stayed in the apartment. So you could see where that was kind of going.
yeah,
It was going down the slippery slope. And
yeah,
I was on the road to nowhere at the time. So I got the arm around me then from a man called Sid Strickland. Lord rest him, he's died now. He was in the army and he put his arm around me and basically, you're going to the army. And to be fair, like, he kind of saved my life in a way.
yeah,
So people kind of laughed, you won't last in the army, you'll not do this, you'll not do that. Now, I had family in the army. Grandfather served, my uncles had served. Both grandfathers actually had served. And it was a proud family tradition being in the army. Like, and I'd literally gone to Cattlebrow Barracks for me interview. And I'd only trained a year before with Brian in Cattlebrow Barracks. Used to go in at Christmas. When you guys got a Christmas break, you used to be in training on the two pitches, the Marty Quarters field and the Leeson's field there. And the Dublin senior team used to train there as well, but Brian used to bring us in. But me going in the gate a year before that with an international team, here I am now, about to be recruited into the Irish Defence Forces. And yeah, it's to be fair, like, between Sid putting his arm around me and the Defence Forces, like, proper saved my life. Like,
yeah, total eye opener. And I suppose you sort of came to a crossroads, and Sid thankfully seen something in you that he knew you could succeed. And did you sort of feel yourself, all the sort of negativity being thrown at you, did you feel like that spurred you on to succeed then within the Defence Forces?
Yeah, like, I would have been fairly close to me nanny, like, and when she found out, she was delighted, like, and it was like being back in the dressing room with the lads. Do you know
Yeah.
that it was that feeling of the banter was brilliant.
Yeah.
And you make friends for life, like, do you know what I mean? Like, no matter what, how long, like, I'm recently back from being away there and hadn't spoken to a lad in 15 years. Like, we trained together until
Yeah.
it was three of us on the trip, trying to get. I was like talking to them since yesterday, like, you know, and that's the, and you just pick up the slagging and the abuse, like, do you know what I mean? Just
Yeah.
feeds off being in dressing room. It's actually worse. It's cutthroat, like,
Yeah.
and
Yeah.
it's like you do something, you're all right. Yeah, well, you're a stupid, blah blah blah. Like, yeah, it's open. You get slaughtered for hours,
Yeah.
like.
Everyone
And,
knows what the banter's about. So
yeah, so I got the phone call. I actually started late in the army, and I was meant to go into a platoon in Gormanstown, not too far from Drogheda.
yeah.
And then I got the phone call to report at Aiken Barracks down on the Monday. So literally just bring a bag with clothes with you. So I didn't know what to bring. So I think I packed a lot of things and off to Aiken on the bus here and bus the next day. Went on the Monday morning, was up in Aiken Barracks, got sworn in, and next of all I was in the car going to Monaghan. So I got a clue. Was it?
Yeah.
Go in there, hadn't got a clue what was going on.
You didn't know
Welcome
what
to
to
the.
expect. Yeah.
So they were in for 2 weeks. They had the gist of marching, coming to attention, calling the instructors corporal. I was calling them so. Right, I'm not so. I work for a living, and you're like, what's going on here? Like, you know, it's like
You're
pizza
just
pan.
winging it.
It's a pizza pan beret. Like, it looked like something out that was making pizzas from. Like, do you know what I mean? I was like, a fine sauce on your head. I hadn't got a clue. And to be fair, like, the lads that I was in the room with, and like, got me up to scratch, and the instructors were brilliant with me. Like, to be fair,
Yeah.
like, no, none of them. They kind of had an idea from me background and me file where I
Yeah.
was kind of coming from. Like, you know,
Yeah.
and I was brilliant, absolutely brilliant. Like, you know. But then he was. I remember doing a PT session, training session, and kind of got swung and it went me back, and straight away thoughts came in. I'm gone. I'm finished. Like, you know, me back is on me. And you hear all things, and I was getting upset. I thought I was getting fucked out of the army and everything. Like, it was just my head was going,
Yeah.
and I was going back into them thoughts again. Oh, I'm gone. I'm gone. I'm gone. But now some of the instructors were brilliant. Now they absolutely roasted you. It was brilliant. Some of the
Yeah.
best times you like, do you know what I mean? You're looking back and you're going, what is going on here? Like, how am I doing this? Like, you know.
Yeah. Yeah. I suppose it's just building character within you, like them
Yeah.
them getting stuck into the abuse or whatever you have to take. But like if sort of you had that at a younger age within football, nearly you probably might have succeeded.
But
Or
even coming home, like, to be honest with you, Steph, like, I had one phone call from Owen Hand. That was it.
yeah,
Like,
yeah, there's
you're an international footballer and you're coming home. I think there was a course on the year before that, like, you know, and I know a couple of lads around my age group that had come home that were in the international teams. There was nothing. Absolutely nothing.
yeah,
You know, not even a first course to put you on or on to keep you involved in the game, go coaching or the pathway. There's nothing.
yeah,
And this was 20 years ago, like, and there's still not.
yeah. There's no aftercare, and
No.
that I suppose like someone that's gone in, seen everything, like you're the perfect man to be dealing with young lads going over, giving them information that like I suppose when you're 16, 15, 16, whatever age you're going to the UK at, you're just thinking, oh, I'll sign with this club.
Yeah.
It's not the long term you're dealing with. So you do
No.
need the people around you, or you need the people giving you information that isn't really there, like you say.
I remember sitting, it's been 6 months ago now, I was in quarantine going to Mali, and the young lad had committed suicide then that had been released from Manchester City.
Yeah,
And then only a couple of weeks before that, then a young goalkeeper that I used to coach, he committed suicide as well. And it kind of hit me then, saying, "Well, is this maybe your route now to come out and tell your story when you come back?"
yeah,
And to be fair, like, the last 24 months hadn't been the best times for me either.
yeah,
And like, a lot of things coming to the surface, like, you know. And I was just sitting there and going, right, you have to do something when you come home, and help kids. Like I sit and talk to kids and talk to lads like coaching. Maybe they go into coaching then as well. I'm kind of opening their eyes to different things. Do you know, that kind of way? Like everyone has their agenda. Like, do you know what I mean? Everyone has their own what they want to achieve. Like, but like I don't like seeing kids being brought down the road. Like, do you know what I mean? You know where it's going. Like
Yeah.
being taken for granted. Like I know young coaches now that are being taken for granted on 20 quid a week.
Yeah.
Travel the country. Like, and that's, I think I average the hours out of 15 hours a week. Like for 20 quid. Like that's,
Yeah.
and paying for B licenses for €1,200. Like,
Yeah.
you know,
It doesn't add up. It
no,
doesn't add
like
up.
some kids want to go to the US. Like I've coached kids that have gone to the US on scholarships and have completely changed their lives. One's going to be a doctor. One I think is going to be a psychologist, and I can't think what the other one is doing, but they've gone on to the education route now, and they're living in America. One's actually getting married. He's meant to go to his wedding this year, and he was actually an international goalkeeper as well, Evan Gaffney. And he went the route of education in the US.
Yeah.
And I'm looking at, like, I'm proud as punches them, like, but
Yeah.
there was like another goalkeeper like that I've spoken to, and he was going down the wrong road like me.
Yeah.
And I remember getting a phone call off his mother saying, "Thanks very much." And I says, "Why? What's up?" And he says, "You've put him on the railway again, and you've guided him down this way where he was going." And that for me means a hell of a lot more than seeing goalkeepers go on and make international caps that I've coached. Like, and like going like brilliant. Do you know what I mean? I love seeing that someone
Yeah.
picking themselves up and being resilient and pushing on. Like,
Yeah. No matter what career path to sort of choose, like
yeah,
it's sort of, even from the last couple of weeks, the head in the game sort of just took off, and you're talking to different people, and you sort of have that sort of pride within you.
yeah,
Even you're talking to people, and you don't even realize that a little chat can go a long way. You're just interacting with people, and it might make their day, might make them look at something differently. It's like it can be a total eye opener, and
yeah,
like we're always saying, like everyone, we're open for a chat. Anybody wants to drop us a message or anything like that. Like you've just came, and like we were together at Monaghan for what,
yeah,
less than 6 months anyway, and
yeah,
you just reached out to me, and the chats we had already just going back and forth, like, you know,
yeah. Yeah,
it's
it's
been
even
brilliant.
time,
Like,
like even like for me now, like, yeah, look, I bounced in and out of the league, played Leinster Senior League, I've coached the Premier Division club, and it's all coming back to trust with me. Like, you know,
yeah,
you probably get a bad name or reputation around the place, but that's just me not trusting people. And it's
yeah,
not in a bad way, it's just that I can see it going down. There's probably a fear factor that it's going down. Like, yeah, look, I know people don't like me and I don't like other people. Do you know what I mean? That's the facts of life. Like, but
yeah,
what I will give you is black and white and what I think. Do you know what I mean? And
yeah,
all I want back is honesty. Like, do you know, that kind of way, and something that's lacking. Like, it's severe. Like, I'm hearing like other things of, like, I'm seeing kids going on LinkedIn, being told by coaches to go on LinkedIn and go to YouTube channels, and you're like, this is this could
yeah,
be serious, like, down the line. Say if you don't make it, say if you go down that line, what way is your headspace? You've been so driven at that age. Like, you say if you don't make it, what's your plan B? You have no plan B. Like,
yeah,
I'm watching kids, YouTube, Instagrams, the whole shebang, and they've been treated like absolute world stars. Like,
yeah,
do you know what I mean? Agents promise them everything, bring them pairs of boots, but like, you're looking at it and you're going, like, did you deserve this? Do you know,
yeah,
you have to work hard. What's your plan B? Has anyone sat down with you properly? And like, agents have an agenda is to make money. That's,
yeah,
and you see what your man Raola is doing with Pogba. He's making millions out of him. Like, do you know what I mean? They
yeah,
only care. My agent went missing. Do you know what I mean? My agent didn't want to know anything about me. As soon
yeah,
as I came, gone.
yeah,
Where 12 months beforehand, I'm in Shoot magazine, I'm in Front magazine. There's talks of me going to Arsenal. There's other bits and pieces, other clubs are kind of sniffing around you. And
Taking
you're
an
like,
interest.
now, do you know what I mean? I actually
Yeah.
messaged them a while ago, thinking going in to be a player representative. Can you give me any ideas? Like, you know, nothing,
Yeah.
blank me. Do you know what I mean? Didn't want
No,
to know.
that's
But
incredible.
that was just me testing the waters and going, hold on a minute, like.
Yeah, he was supposed to be looking after you, like, and
Yeah.
he's
And
just
you see it now,
abandoning
like, yeah, you see it now, like even just young kids now in the League of Ireland academy system now getting released.
you.
And I
Yeah,
was actually on a safeguard 2 course, and I've since then I've looked at psychology now through the army. I can do education through the defence forces now. I'm looking at a degree in psychology now, sports psychology and stuff like that, and looking at the player and whether it be soccer, GA, or whatever.
yeah,
Done my safeguarding courses. I've done suicide awareness now as well. I've only finished that yesterday with the HSE. I'm starting to look at all this now, and it's linking back to probably how I felt. Did I? Yeah, I did think about
yeah.
it.
Your
Was it
your own experiences, like, really.
how close was I? I was very close, very very close. How like even sitting back to the 2 kids that kind of committed suicide over the last 12 months. Yeah, I've looked at it all, like, you know, and it's now what's going on in other kids' lives, kids' heads, parents' heads. Do you know what I mean? Like, he might be a superstar over here for a football club in Dublin. When you go to the UK or Europe, you're going against the superstars of probably a 10 times better system.
Yeah,
Do you know what I mean? And that's no disrespect to anybody, but it's the better systems abroad. Do you know
yeah.
that kind of.
Just facts, like, yeah,
Yeah, and that's just the way it is. Like, you know, the proper full time academies, we don't have them yet.
yeah,
Shamrock Rovers are doing it. Pats have a good academy. Successful, like, do you know what I mean? There's other clubs where people just want to fight and create other clubs. Like, so much internal fighting going on that
mhm,
the only people that are suffering are the players. Do you
yeah,
know, and not getting the proper welfare. And this is where I'm looking at now. I had a great chat with the FAI president, Jerry McEnany, on Tuesday night. Like, I spoke to me and Jerry had met through the army soccer.
yeah,
We had a love-hate relationship at the very beginning. He was a goalkeeper, I was a goalkeeper. But like, I have utmost respect for Jerry. Like, you know, we really got to know him on a certain competition, and I'd go to Jerry for with anything now, like, you know, and that's the mark of respect we have for each other. And I went to him with an idea of player welfare, and he's come back to me, and he's actively looking at doing something in that them terms, like, you know.
yeah. Especially when you're sort of building up your portfolio, I suppose. Like, you're getting all the knowledge and the training. I suppose
Yeah.
it's an ideal sort of thing that it's a niche that it hasn't been looked at, and I think it's definitely something that would be successful.
It's education stuff. Like, it's look, you can go and listen to lecturers, or you can go and listen to coaches talking about it, but have you actually experienced it? Do you know
Yeah,
what I mean? Have the experience gone through the system? Have they been in that position where they've been released from the club, and 6 months earlier the best thing since sliced bread, and then there's nobody around and picking you back up, like, you know?
yeah,
And that's where you're at, like.
yeah,
Yeah.
exactly, yeah, yeah. So just mindful of dragging this on, and
Yeah.
I'm really thankful for you coming in and having a chat with us about your
Yeah.
experience. It's an incredible, interesting story, and
Yeah.
just thanks very much for coming on.
Well, obviously on time, but there are other things happening,
Yeah,
and there will be more on it. Like, you know, I'm not going to let this one go. Like, you know,
yeah, no,
I got
that's great to
this.
hear. You're doing well now, and you're
Yeah,
you're focused on the next thing, which is the main thing. Like, so that's
yeah.
great, and we just want everyone ahead in the game wants to thank you for coming on and having a chat with us. It's been brilliant, and we'll we'll
Gentlemen,
have
pal.
we'll have to come back and revisit this, and you can go on part two
Yeah.
now.
Yeah. No, I know you have to get to bed, pal. Don't be worrying about it.
No worries. Thanks very much, mate.
Cheers, bud.
Cheers. Bye bye
Chat
now.
to you. Bye bye.